Hello and welcome. I think we might wait another minute or two just to see if any others roll in, and then we'll have our SEAL representative, Sophia Strobel, welcome you officially, and we'll begin the meeting.
But he got so quiet.
I think that just comes back to the conversation we were having of we're all so tired. Spring break is just on the cusp. It's just so close.
Hallelujah, I need it.
Feel like it's never long enough though.
No, I was just thinking, I had the thought today, I was like, as excited as I am, I know it's going to go so fast, and I'm going to get to the end and say, wait, where did the time go?
How long is Pellissippi's break?
We have a week.
Oh, good. Okay.
I feel like too, I'm gonna be a terrible break taker and actually try to get ahead on what I've got to do for school.
Yeah, educators don't often get a break because we're always playing catch up or trying to work ahead. But I plan to take 2 days at least to do nothing. We'll see.
In case anybody is curious, we were talking about gas earlier. It is only, and I do mean only, $5.19 in Sacramento.
Oh, okay. Only.
I mean, comparative, considering somebody said it was $4.20 in Tennessee, I feel like that's not a very big difference.
All right, so I guess we're going to go ahead and start. Welcome everyone to the Phi Theta Kappa March chapter meeting. Today we'll be featuring a transfer and scholarship process panel. We have 3 graduates of Pellissippi State who are also PTK members here to talk with us today. I would also like to remind everyone that we are recording this meeting and that a link for this recording will be sent out to members once the video gets uploaded.
Well, thanks very much, Sophia. My name's Travis, everybody, and I'm the representative for the Strawberry Plains Pellissippi campus. And today I have the very unique pleasure of introducing our 3 panelists. Again, once Sophia said, as she said, they are all graduates of PTK, or of Pellissippi rather, and they've gone on to bigger and brighter things. So our first speaker is Lily Corley. She's a former PTK president. She's transferred now to Lipscomb University. Along with her, we have Mariah Hall, who is the former VP of Communications, transferred to East Tennessee State. And we have Adam Vogt, who is the former SEAL liaison, and he is transferred now at Columbia University. So I hope we can all give them a nice warm welcome, folks. Thanks very much for being here, all of you. I believe that you all have privy to the questions we wanted to present to you. And I think the first one, I'll just dive right in. I don't know, you guys can volunteer as to who wants to go first, but I think the first question we had was, in 3 words, how would you describe your transfer experience?
So I'll start off, and so much fun. It was really enjoyable.
Okay, so I kind of gave 3 separate words. So I think my transfer was timely, exciting, and supported. I felt very much supported by Pellissippi and by my family and friends and by people at my new school. So it was awesome.
Exciting was one of my words as well. And then also worthwhile and straightforward were my other two.
Well, thanks very much. Next up on the agenda, we wanted to ask you, what do you wish you had known before the transfer process? And again, I'll leave it up to you three to decide who goes first. Unless you want me to be the referee.
I'll go ahead. Though I do enjoy referees. So there are a few. One is enjoy it, but do the work. And then another is test scores and GPA are not important enough. Essays are make or break, and get help from writing tutors with essays. I had so much just wonderful, valuable help from Joy, writing tutor at Pellissippi.
Very good.
I think I wish that I had had more clarity on what kind of school I wanted to transfer to, because I feel like sometimes it's overwhelming when you're trying to decide which applications to take the time to fill out and which ones to not fill out. And I did spend a lot of time pursuing one school in particular that ended up not being a good fit for me and not being the kind of like culture that I wanted. And also it varies school by school how many scholarship opportunities there are and how many structures are set up to welcome transfers. And so kind of knowing A, what kind of school culture in general do I want to be a part of, and B, what schools are good for transfers specifically could have narrowed down my process. And so I wish that I had had more thought about that.
Yeah, my biggest thing was definitely scholarships, just because there are so many opportunities out there that I didn't even know about. So definitely be checking, obviously with your school, but also like with the department that you're going to be transferring into in the school that you're transferring into. Also, depending on where you work, workplaces offer scholarships. If depending on where your parents work, sometimes you can get scholarships from there. There's just so many opportunities out there that I wish that I had realized and known about when I was transferring.
Well, thanks very much for that, gang. I guess starting with you, Adam, again, might as well keep the batting order the same here. Is there a certain timeline that you would recommend to students for like the beginning search for transfer schools? Like
Yeah,
how soon is too soon?
I'd recommend 1 year. I started, I guess, my first semester at Pellissippi, which would be 2 years, but it was just, I went to a website that, hooked me up with anthropology programs, and they connected me with Duke and Notre Dame, whom I received emails from. But 1 year, I think, is all you need, and the applications start to become due in March, and I would recommend going to like everything the institutions you're interested in have available, and email the students and the administrators and the professors, and take advantage of the online webinars. Use all the resources that you can find. There's so much information available. So I would say reach out and use it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the sooner, if you're a major planning type like I am, I also started looking really early. I visited the school that I'm at now a lot of times. But I would say, especially to make sure you can take advantage of like early application deadlines, and certain scholarships will also require earlier deadlines than others. So I would agree, definitely make sure you're starting to pay attention a year out. For instance, I right now am not paying tuition at this school because of a specific Tennessee transfer scholarship that I applied for. And I believe that I had to have that application in like December, maybe like before, like the way before I came. So like as soon as you can start looking, start visiting, getting a feel for where you want to apply, the better.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing. I would say even earlier, like as soon as you start Pellissippi, you should be looking for where you're going to transfer, specifically because of application deadlines and scholarships and stuff like that. And I know that, so I am a graduate of Pellissippi, but I still work for the new student orientation on the Pellissippi campus. So I know that they just created this new, they're calling it a transfer hub, but it's basically representatives from different colleges. So they have offices on the Pellissippi campus. So it's like an incredible resource. Even if like the first year you're at Pellissippi, you don't know where you want to go and visit those offices, because those people are there specifically to talk to students and help them figure out what school would be the best fit for them. So definitely first semester of Pellissippi, go to the transfer hub and then just continue that process throughout your time.
I have something to add to that too. I definitely take advantage of those resources that Pellissippi has for you to meet different schools, like Mariah said. But also, if you're traveling somewhere and you drive by a campus and you just want to walk through, do that. And like, if you walk by admissions and meet someone, talk to them, because this school, Lipscomb, that I'm at now, was not really on my radar. It was not my top choice at first. But I was in Nashville one day visiting my brother and just stopped by and walked around. And it was beautiful. And everyone I met was so kind. So then I started paying attention. So just kind of keep your eyes open to however you might stumble across your right place.
Very, very good. Thank you. How did you take advantage of the PTK website to assist you in your transfer, Adam?
All right, so I went to the website and it made me feel comfortable and successful. It was nice. And it has useful links to transfer information. But the schools and scholarships I was applying to were not directly tied to the PTK website. And so I used the PTK website to learn about, scholarship opportunities and programs that weren't directly related to me, but they inspired me to continue searching out for more scholarship opportunities and groups. And through them, through my exploration, I found like one really great group called the Leadership Alliance, which I became a part of. And I mean, I would say that the groups build on themselves. Like once you become engaged with one and reach out, it's easier and easier to join more and participate.
Yeah, I feel like I
Let
benefited.
next further.
Was someone saying something? Okay, I feel like I benefited a lot from the resources that were available when I was filling out the PTK scholarship application. So y'all know there's like the big application that you fill out for scholarships directly from PTK. And I'm sure that you guys have talked about that in chapter meetings or plan to. And there are a lot of resources about how to write the application and how to do a good job crafting your essay and stuff. And those resources helped me with that application, but also with things that I applied to different applications. And so going through that process was helpful for me.
Oh, wait, I wanted to jump in. Yeah, you're exactly right. I looked at that stuff and it's really good. And I saw some of your essay for the PTK scholarship thing, and it was excellent. I mean, it's you really put a lot into it.
Thanks.
I think for me, I mean, yeah, the scholarship stuff was absolutely incredible, but just to like switch things up a bit, so I'm not repeating exactly what Lily just said, the PTK Connect, which I think is what Adam was talking about, was super beneficial for me just as I was comparing colleges. So even before I figured out where I was going to transfer to, that was helpful for me as I was comparing colleges.
And I wanted to throw just one more thing in there, which is like I didn't get the PTK scholarship, but filling out that application, going through the process was such a valuable experience. I mean, being forced to put all that stuff down and contact the professors, get recommendations, all that is essential. And I would highly recommend doing it.
Well, thank you for that. It's all really good stuff so far, gang. Thank you very much. The next question we had for you was, what advice can you give on potential pitfalls for transfer students?
All right, so what I would say is no is good. Like, don't be afraid to apply and hear no. If you're not hearing no, then maybe you're not reaching high enough. Reach out. And then don't wait for the last minute to do your essays or your application. Start early. Now, people say, I mean, I feel like that's generic advice, but it is really important. And one way to go about that is don't approach your essay as one big task. I mean, when you look at it as like the essay, it can get intimidating. But if you break it up into like many short tasks, you're just like, I'll start off with just, spitballing, just put stuff down, and then, on a second session, I'll make an outline, and then I'll, develop from that. So that will help a lot. And also get help. I mean, the writing centers, the available resources at Pellissippi can be so beneficial and can really turn everything around.
Yeah, I love that no is good. That's really a helpful thing to remember. I think another thing is it can be overwhelming when you're applying to multiple places to have to write multiple different essays. So don't lose your essay when you hit submit, because sometimes you can't get the application back. So make sure that you save what you've written so that if you get another prompt during a different application where that can help you generate ideas and a story that you told or something can be reused, that'll save you time. Another pitfall in kind of a different direction is pay close attention to what scholarships are stackable and what scholarships cancel each other out. There was one school that was high on my list that I looked at the scholarships that applied to me and added them all up. And then at the last minute, found out that I couldn't have the community college graduate scholarship and the PTK scholarship. And that was not made clear on their website. So what we learned is that you have to very specifically question your admissions counselors and be like, so can I have this scholarship and this scholarship at the same time? What is my total? And not be surprised by that, because I've seen that happen to a lot of people where there are certain loopholes in the scholarships that cancel them out. So be mindful of that. Be mindful of which schools are going to add a lot of gen ed requirements that were not fulfilled at Pellissippi. The school I'm at right now, Lipscomb, because I had an associate's degree, I don't have to take any gen eds here except the Bible classes that are required. So I don't have to take PE, the extra science, whatever, it's canceled. But not every school is like that. Some schools, you have to fulfill all their gen eds regardless of what you did before. So I've had friends that have transferred to schools and thought that they were going to be a junior, but had 3 years left because they had to go back and finish all this freshman, sophomore stuff. So again, talk to your admissions counselors at the schools you're trying to transfer to. Make sure you're not going to get surprised with extra requirements.
And I wanted to throw something in there. Also, I think, and this might have been Lipscomb, but I remember you received a scholarship and you weren't pleased with it, and you're like, no, you guys can give me more, and you negotiated a higher scholarship. So don't.
That was yes, that was at Lee University, which is my second choice. That was the school where I thought I was going to get those two, and they canceled out, and I did fight with them about it, and they did. They said, send us what you're getting from Lipscomb. So I did. I proved my claim that I was getting a lot more from Lipscomb, and they adjusted my amount, and then I still didn't choose them. But it was good practice for me having to I really chose to advocate for myself, and it did pay off. So don't be afraid to try that. Again, don't be afraid of them saying no, because they might say yes.
Yeah, and just tacking on to that, I've had to advocate myself so much here. I mean, in a big university, you're your voice. You have to advocate for yourself, get used to it, and do it. It's so helpful.
Definitely. Like everything that they just said, yes. And also I'm a huge planner. I double check, triple check everything. So do way more research than you think is necessary. Make sure that you are 100% certain that everything that you think and that you've researched is actually true. And if you can, I'm sure depending on the college, they might assign you an advisor, but see if you can talk to another advisor, email the just general advisory, just to get a second opinion. Because I know when I came to ETSU, I was told that 2 scholarships that I was eligible for could not be stacked. They can in fact be stacked, and that cost me a couple $1,000. And I got very upset with the financial aid office because they gave me the wrong information, and it would have completely changed what I'm currently doing if I had known that information. So make sure that you know for 100% certainty that the information that you're being given and that you're researching is true. It ended up being fine. It cost me a couple $1,000, but that's fine. But just make sure that you have all the correct information.
That's awesome. Thank you all. This next question kind of goes back a little bit to what Lily was talking about earlier. During your transition between schools, how was the handoff between the advisors and the credits? And Lily, I know you already kind of touched on this, but is there anything further that the rest of you have to say about this?
So for me, the transition went really well. I had 72 credits available for transfer, or that transferred, but my program could only accept 60. And so I got 60, and I feel great about that. And I would want to be here 2 years. In fact, I'm probably going to be here, or I'm going to be here 3 years. And I found that my new advisor, was really helpful, but it's largely dependent on what you bring, on what you say and what you ask. So I'd say go in with questions and take notes.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with go in with questions and take notes. I was fortunate to immediately be given an advisor in the department that I was transferring into. So if the school that you're looking at does not automatically do that, I would try reaching out to a professor in the department you're transferring into to talk with them, because that's really helpful, and they'll know some more of the specifics of class requirements and all of that. Every school is kind of different in how they do advising. For me, it was very smooth because I had the associate's degree, and Lipscomb just wipes freshman and sophomore year from your plate if you have an associate's degree. I think that's because it's a Tennessee Board of Regents school, so there's more of a transfer pathway agreement between community colleges and TBR universities. So that's a good thing to check into. Be mindful of transfer credit limit caps, because I know I only lost a few credit hours, but there was a cap to how much I could transfer over, but I will still be able to finish up in only 2 more years.
And then one thing I wanted to add on what Lily said is there's a difference between an academic advisor and the department advisor, or the director of undergraduate studies of a department. And so in addition to speak, I mean, and the school's only going to connect you with the academic advisor. And then, or at least in my case, it was incumbent upon me to reach out to the undergraduate advisor of my department and send her my transcript and what I was interested in, and question about the classes that would transfer. And she was really helpful and great. And when I met her on orientation and Jumpstart, I had already paved the way for a good conversation. So be proactive and reach out early.
I had the same experience as Lily, where I was like immediately connected with someone in the department, so a departmental advisor, and she's the most amazing person on the planet. So I didn't have any issues with transferring advisors. I will say though, make sure that you are talking to your advisors both at Pellissippi and wherever you're transferring to. Have open lines of communication. Definitely go in with questions, and if you can, already kind of set up a plan for yourself so you have like a starting point to start the conversation with your advisors, just to say, this is what I want to do. How does this look? What are your opinions on my current plan? But definitely talk to your advisors. I did not talk to my advisors at Pellissippi, and I graduated with an accounting degree, and now I'm doing media and communications and like radio, television, film stuff. So a lot of the credits that I got for accounting for that degree, they're electives, so I don't have the opportunity to take classes for fun like a lot of my friends do. All of my electives went to stuff like that. So make sure that you're talking to your advisors, because they will definitely be able to help you. My advisors at Pellissippi told me, hey, maybe you should think about going into something with like communications or radio, TV, film. And I was like, no, I don't want to. I want to do accounting. No, I really did want to do what they were telling me that I wanted to do. In that case, they did know a lot more than I did, and I really should have listened to them. But definitely just have open lines of communication with all your advisors.
I have a quick something to add about that. I know that probably some people here are considering transferring to UT, which is fantastic. It's a great school. UT has a lot of students. It's a big school. It's a big institution. And so it can be less efficient as far as advising goes. So if you are trying to talk to people at UT, start pestering them now. Like, it takes a longer time to get an answer. It's not as easy as it is with Lipscomb, where they only have a few thousand students. Like, you have to be proactive and aggressive getting your questions answered at UT. However, UT also has a very helpful tool. If you're wondering if certain classes are going to transfer to another school, on UT's website, there's a course equivalency chart where you can type in, okay, I'm taking this course at Pellissippi, what's it going to transfer as at UT? Because sometimes a course will have a similar name, but it won't be the same level. Like, it'll be a 200 level at Pellissippi, but you need it as a junior. So it's not going to transfer because it's a different level as it is at UT. So having that for yourself and to look at with your Pellissippi advisor is helpful for not wasting your time taking classes that don't help you.
I would want to just emphasize that, yes, if you're going to UT, talk to them now, because it does take a while for them to get back to you, depending on who you're talking to. And also that same chart, look at any school that you're looking at, look for one of those charts, because I was looking at UT, ETSU, and MTSU, and I ended up at ETSU, but all three of those schools had those charts, and those were they were so valuable for me when I was looking at transferring classes.
Yeah, and just to throw one more thing in, UT, I mean, it's really nice, but there are more people at UT than in all of Oak Ridge. I mean, than the population of Oak Ridge, so it's really big.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Okay, so last question. What opportunities have you found at your new school that Phi Theta Kappa may have helped inspire?
All right. So my success with PTK built a solid bedrock of extracurricular enjoyment where desire to participate is more important than background experience. PTK gave me confidence and networking ability. Heading the bylaws revision committee gave me confidence in administration and organization. I am an editor here at Columbia of a national journal, and it's because of PTK. My work with PTK as an officer rekindled my desire to pursue politics, running against Lily and losing. I mean, she has done a wonderful job, better than I ever could have as president. But yeah, it brought that back out in me. And thanks to PTK, I'm applying for this summer's Weisenthal Government Advocacy Internship. And currently, I'm in 5 school groups and still looking for more. And PTK inspired everything.
Adam, when I watched your campaign video last year, I was almost tempted to vote for you instead of myself. Like, I got to vote as a member and I almost voted for you. I'm like, I told that to my mom. She's like, Lily, you have to vote for yourself. Yeah, I think for me, I wish that I had been in our PTK chapter not during a pandemic, because that put a damper on things. But learning to kind of help facilitate chapter meetings and like give some information to new members, I think has played into my desire to be on the welcome team here at Lipscomb. And this summer I will be working on the new student orientation team and planning events and helping with our welcome week at the beginning of the semester. And so kind of that leadership, service, value system, and learning to welcome others was definitely something I got to practice through PTK.
Yeah, for me, it was the same thing. Just I really, through being an officer in PTK, realized how important it was to be involved on campus. So yeah, definitely campus involvement was a huge thing for me. But then also, so as the vice president of communications, I was creating content and running the social media accounts for PTK. And now I have to have like a certain amount of lab hours every semester for my major. And I'm doing a lot of the same stuff for my lab hours. And I had that background where I could show them and be like, hey, I have experience. And so that definitely gave me a leg up and gave me some experience that not a lot of other people have. It surprised me how little experience a lot of the juniors in my major have with the programs that we're supposed to know how to use. And being an officer helped me have a leg up because I already knew how to use some of the things that we're supposed to be using.
Oh yeah, I also want to throw one more thing in. I mean, exactly what you said, Mariah. That how much PTK makes us look good, but it does prepare us in the right way for, you know, all the great things we have to do in the future. But it also just opens up so many pathways. And so I wanted to show this real quick. In the study lounge where I study, the PTK international president like hangs out there also. And I was going to show a picture of him with me. Anyway, it's just remarkable how it brings people together. So thanks. Oh yeah, and the other thing is Dr. Horn wrote one of my recommendation letters. I mean, and one of my 2 recommendation letters to Columbia. And so, I mean, for sure, get involved and do everything you can. And the Dr. Ross and Dr. Horn are such valuable and incredible assets. Do take full advantage.
Thank you, one and all. Thank you, guys. That was really, really good. I think Ivy might. Ivy, are you on the next segment? I'm not sure, but seriously, Adam, Mariah, Lily, all of you, thank you so much for being here today. It's really special that you took your time to help this group. I know that I, for one, I'm in that process right now, so that I know that some of the information you delivered here today is definitely going to help me, and I really appreciate it from my heart. Thank you.
I will echo I was just going to echo that real quick. I know Lily, you have to go pretty soon here because you're all heckin' busy. But let's do pivot to Ivy and see if there are questions for our panelists.
If I may, real quick, before we get to questions, I'd like to remind everybody, while we're on the topic of transfer, that PTK has a free Edge program, and it is the Transfer Edge that can also offer you lots of resources to build on everything that everybody has talked about today.
Thanks for that plug.
And I'm also going to plug, you just heard from PTK officers. We are going to be taking nominations for PTK officers later on this month.
All right, so it looks like Selena has a question. Where do I start after figuring out what college I want to go to? What is the first step?
Contact someone at that college. I would say their admissions office would probably be the first place to contact, and then they can help direct you. But you're going to need to figure out like what the major equivalent is, all of your transfer credits. They can help connect you to an advisor, a financial aid advisor, all of those things. So once you figure out where you're going to go, even before you figure out where you're going to go, if you've narrowed it down to 2 or 3 colleges, contact people at that college, and they're going to be able to help point you in the right direction, and that will help influence your decisions as you're figuring out which college you want to go to, or as you're trying to figure out the next step in that college process.
Excellent. All right. Sophia has a question. Was there ever a time you felt lost because you were receiving different information from your respective schools?
Yes.
So,
You can go ahead, Adam.
my answer is exactly the same, which is yes, I felt lost almost the whole time. And a lot of times the schools gave me similar information, like about what to do with an essay, but and what I would say is write as many emails as you can. You know, just contact professors, administrators, and just see what they have to say.
For me, I think I found that some schools were quicker to give details and to give next steps than others. And so I think be diligent about pursuing and asking questions, but also don't panic when one school is not working the same way as another. Just try to stay calm, trust the process. And when you find that information for one school, write it down. Maybe you could have a folder for the schools that you're looking at to keep it separate, a spreadsheet, whatever you want to do, to kind of write down your information and your next steps as you find them out, and just do the next thing, and just try not to let yourself get stressed by things you can't control. And that'll help a lot. I would also say, and I want to be cautious with this, I would apply to more than one school, because in case you get a no, you want to have a backup plan, and you might not know which is the right fit. I would advise against applying to so many that you're drowning. I had a friend who applied to 30 colleges, and that's too much, because then you're not retaining things. It's too many logistics. So find your handful that you're excited about, keep organized, and keep calm.
I just wanted to tack something onto that, which is I went to webinars of many different schools, and it was Notre Dame that I when I saw the students there and their professors, I was like, that's where I want to be. You know, this is incredible. This is, you know, by far the attitude that I want to be a part of. But I didn't get my application in on time, and they wouldn't let me turn it in late, and you know, I had to keep going. But I was, and I would say that, you know, just because that, you know, spring transfer door closes, it doesn't mean that it's off the plate, because I went forward thinking, well, what I'll do, and I looked up on how to do a fall transfer to Notre Dame. And, so I kept that, in my back pocket as I moved forward. And I was like, well, I can always, apply later. And it turned out that I didn't. But yeah, so you just got to roll with the punches. And, sometimes what you want doesn't happen.
Asher, I see you have your hand raised.
Yeah, so one, I want to note on what was just said about don't apply to too many colleges. There's also a financial barrier to that. Applying to 30 colleges had to get expensive, first of all. But the question I had is, if you run into a advisor in particular that maybe isn't helpful or makes you feel unwelcome at the college, would you all agree to maybe seek out another advisor and give it another shot before just saying, hey, I don't like this culture? Because perhaps you just caught an advisor on a bad day, or one of the advisors that's just maybe not the most welcoming. Doesn't mean they're a bad advisor, just isn't working out for you.
Where you had an aggressive head nod.
Yes, definitely. One of the decisions to come to ETSU was because I had bad advising experience at the other colleges and good one here. But don't do that. Don't do that. That's not a good idea. Do not judge a college based on one person. Definitely, if you have a bad advising experience, seek out another advisor, because yeah, that's like, I'm taking a logic class right now. That's like one of the biggest logical fallacies, is judging a whole based on one part. So definitely, I love the snaps, Dr. Ross. Thank you. Definitely do not judge a college based on one advisor.
I agree. I think you can't judge it off of one person. And if it's a school that you really care about, try different approaches. Don't just give up after the first barrier. However, if it's a pattern and every advising person and every professor you reach out to blows you off or ignores you, that's a cultural symbol that you are not going to probably be invested in as a person there. Like, there was one school where I felt like I was being brushed off by every person I talked to. And I was like, okay, so this is the kind of school where I'm a number, not a person. And I'm not okay with that. And it's not what I want. So don't give up after the first try, give people a chance. But when it's clear that you're not really wanted for you, move on.
Lily, I like what you said about a number instead of a person, which leads really right into Serafina's question. What major changes did you notice when switching from a small community college to a large university? I fear feeling small and unheard when I do transfer.
So I want to jump in there. I'm disabled, and the support I got at Pellissippi was amazing. I was a member of TRIO, and I mean, it was everything to me. I got tutoring, support, food, cultural activities, and it profoundly influenced my experience at Pellissippi. But once I got here to Columbia, Columbia also has more people than my hometown of Oak Ridge. But I mean, it took a long time for me to start receiving the disability accommodations I was approved for. And even then, I was having to reach out and like maybe I wouldn't get a response, and I would think, oh, I would think something happened on their end as to, or I thought there was a reason other than they're just overloaded with a bunch of emails as why I didn't get a response. But no, so you have to be proactive and reach out on your own behalf. Here at Columbia, I mean, I've had to learn how to do so much on my own, but also it's learning how to tell people what you want and what your problems are, because there are so many people that will help you. You just gotta cast a wide net to get some help.
So for me, I honestly, there's not a huge size of the school change for me because my school is smaller. But things that I heard that were helpful to me when I was considering going to a bigger school is that when you transfer, you're going to be headed into more major specific classes. So even if you're going to a big university, like let's say UT, like UT is huge and overwhelming, but is the School of Communication, for example, huge and overwhelming? Not really. So try to think of it that way, that going in as a transfer, your circle is going to be a little tighter. And also you really do just have to promise yourself to be courageous and to reach out to people, because there are groups that you can get involved in. If living on campus has been really good for me, because the girls that are in my hall that I live with are my best friends. If you have to be a commuter for financial reasons or because you're doing other things or you're an adult learner, see if there's like a commuter lounge at your school. We have that here. And so just step out of your comfort zone as soon as possible and just start making friends, because you can make friends. Get involved in a club, get involved in the school newspaper, do something, because even the people that are already there, like, it's not that they're unwilling to be your friend, it's just that they also feel uncomfortable talking to new people. So don't put it all on them to make you feel welcome. Like, you also reach out and then see if they reach out back, and kind of relationships go both ways. So just with everyone you meet, step into those new opportunities and be bold. I found that has helped me as a person so much. I have a lot more confidence since transferring, because I told myself on welcome week, I don't care if I hate small talk, I'm going to do it. And now I have a bunch of friends and it's no longer uncomfortable.
Yeah, I'm the exact same. Yeah, ETSU, like, it's bigger than Pellissippi, but not as big as UT. So there is a smaller community, and exactly what Lily was saying, because we're transferring in as juniors, we're going to have more major classes. So it is going to be a tighter knit group. I got involved in a campus club that is specifically for my major. So definitely get involved. Don't be afraid of small talk. You're going to have to step up, because everybody hates small talk. And if you're the person to start it, just because you're starting it and it may seem awkward doesn't mean that it's not appreciated, because everyone else in the room is going to hate it as well, but you're the one taking the initiative and you're the one doing it, and it's going to be appreciated by everyone. So definitely exactly what Lily was saying. Don't be afraid to do that.
Also, to add on to that, I think, like I was talking about, how it's good to know some factors that are important to you. Not everybody is cut out to go to a school that's as big as UT. So maybe if you really don't want to be at a huge school, look at ETSU instead of UT, or if, if there are good scholarship opportunities, if you're financially able, look at a private school, or just like, there are different sizes, and that can be one of the things that you use to determine what fit is right for you. And if you have to go to a big school, again, just get plugged in that department.
Sure.
All right. Can I answer this question? I got messaged a question. What avenues did you find successful in receiving scholarships outside of PTK? And so at Columbia, I received, it's like a $25,000 PTK scholarship, which is amazing. And above that, I got like the Pell Grant and the federal programs. And it I guess got to 47,000, which is like just a few thousand short of tuition. But I'm also available, and I looked at so many different avenues, and there's like a Bear scholarship that I would recommend, and JC Runyon scholarship, and these are for like disabled people, and but I didn't apply for them, and they have different due dates, but it's just because I'm so overwhelmed with keeping up with my schoolwork here, which is number one. But there are, there are a lot of like online compilations of scholarships that you can reach out to, but PTK is a great resource to start with.
Thank you, Adam. You also have another question. How is your transfer process different since you attended college outside of the region? So you went to a whole new state. What was that like for you?
So, and this is really interesting. I mean, I did a lot of my applications on the I guess the College Board website, or the kind of automated thing where you fill out the first half, and then each school has their subsections. UT's subsection was about the largest and most complicated of any of the schools I applied for. So, uh, uh, but like Columbia had its own specific application that was separate. Um, and it was great because the only like extracurricular activity pretty much they asked about was, are you a member of PTK? And I'm like, yes. And that makes me feel even better about having Dr. Horn write my recommendation. And but being disabled, there was a lot of issues. Like when I first, like it was I mean, I had planned for this, but like my very first day, August 19th, when I moved to New York, I called up Social Security, changed my address, and you know, 10 care, you know, called up, and so there's a lot of steps one has to go through to, I guess, legitimize the move, and uh, and then I was able to start applying for like food stamps here, and other forms of social support. And interestingly enough, now, I mean, my fear was that I wasn't going to have insurance, but now I actually feel like I have three different types of insurance. I have the school insurance, which I mean I paid for, but it's um, I mean it's a small, you know, addition to the tuition, and then I have the 10 care insurance, which I'm still using to see some doctors in Oak Ridge or in Tennessee, and I have the New York insurance, which I don't think I've used yet, but I've gotten, you know, all sorts of mail, and so it's yeah, definitely be proactive and look ahead, and so that's what.
So it sounds like there's more involved, but it's worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's phenomenal. And one additional thing was, I thought, I mean, I was like, oh no, it's going to be so noisy and so many people. It was very intimidating, and it is. And uh, but like after about 2 weeks in, I was like, wow, you know, this is actually comforting. And I realized that um, while it is what I expected, the impact or the effect on me is the opposite of what I was expecting. It was, you know, good. It's like I love it here. You know, it's incredible, and the food is so good. I mean,
I mean,
I'm
you are in New
vegan,
York.
so yeah. I mean, the food is this, you know, unmatchable.
Wonderful.
I
Thank you
think-
for sharing. Go ahead.
Can I add something? I think something Adam just said was really important, how at first he felt really overwhelmed by his transition and now he's comfortable with it. I really enjoyed Welcome Week and everything, but one of my best friends had a lot of anxiety and was really struggling with being here at first. And now she loves it and she's sad when she has to go home for breaks. So again, press through, press into making those relationships, even if it feels really hard at first. That doesn't mean it's going to be hard forever.
Well said. All right, Asher, you've had your hand raised. What question do you have?
So this is a little bit more of a statement than a question, but I guess everybody can tell me if I'm right or wrong with this. I actually, straight out of high school, had a lot of different college experiences, and I took some time off where I came to Pellissippi and I came back as an adult. Don't be afraid to go to the college that's not big named. That's been my experience. And just like, you know, you weren't afraid to come to community college, go to the college that is going to enhance what you want to do as a career the most and enhance your learning style. If, for example, take Lipscomb and UT. If you're looking at the programs and they're almost identical as to how they're going to help advance your career, but you feel like you're going to get lost at UT and you won't at Lipscomb, you don't have to go to UT for the name. Would you guys agree with that?
100%.
Sorry, go ahead, Lily.
You go. I've talked more than you.
Okay. I would 100% agree with that. Even going to Pellissippi before going to a four-year university, I felt that because I wasn't going to a school that had a big name, or that all of my friends were going to, that it was somehow lesser. But it wasn't. That was the right choice for me, and I'm very glad that I ended up going to Pellissippi first. I think just inherently as humans, we want approval of others, and so it is so easy to not put ourselves first and to put others' opinions before what is best for us. But college, if you're transferring, it's going to be 2 years, possibly more. That's 2 years of your life. You do not want to be somewhere that it's not going to give you what you need. You want to be somewhere that's going to help you as a person, and not somewhere that you're going just because you think it has a bigger name or because other people told you to go there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would say yes, but it does depend somewhat on your major. Different majors, different things are important. So for instance, I have an aunt who's an engineer, and she shared that for getting like a high paying job in engineering, a lot of employers will look at what school you went to, especially when it gets into kind of niche subfields. Whereas for me, with public relations, that's a lot more experience and skills based. So it's not so much the academic side as much as, does this school have good connections? That's part of why I came here. It's in Nashville. It's a great city to find those connections. So think about what particularly matters to employers in your field. Is it the big name, or is it the connections and the experience? Or is it kind of like all the same and you have to prove your skills separately during the job interview? Like, it's totally different depending on the field.
Well,
And I wanted to throw one thing in there, which is actually, I mean, Pellissippi is really good. I mean, it is. I've heard a lot of stories here from transfer students coming from community colleges that did not have what we have, and yeah, so Pellissippi is excellent.
so the answer is it depends, which is the one we love. All right, there are just a few questions. I am keeping an eye on the time. Mariah, you might have more of an answer for this one. So Elise is asking, is there a transfer hub at the Straw Plains campus? And specifically, does the hub have a number that they can be reached at, or how can we find more information about the transfer hubs?
Sure, yeah. So last I checked, we just had a meeting about this with New Student Orientation. The campus representatives from other four-year university campuses their current plan is they have stationary campuses on the Hardin Valley campus, and then they're planning on traveling to different campuses depending on the day. And I can send more information about the transfer hub to Dr. Horner, Dr. Ross, and then you guys can forward that out to everybody. I can do that after this meeting. I think it should just be on the website, but I don't know how much y'all know about the thing we had earlier in December, the ransomware attack.
Oh, we know.
That really messed up a lot of stuff. So if you can't find it, it is on the website somewhere. It just might be hard to find, but I'll forward that information to you.
That would be great. Yeah, I've taken a lot of notes today, and I'll send those out with the recording of today's meeting to everyone in the chapter so that they can have access to that information. So it would be great if you would send that to me, and I'll include it in my notes. Good. All right. There is one more question, but it does kind of blend into our next segment. So I think this is a good time to maybe officially thank you and conclude our panelists' time. So thank you all so much. I think I'm not even transferring. I have a PhD and I learned a lot. So I'm grateful for your time, for your wisdom, and just, it's good to see you all again.
Thank you so much for having us. This has been so much fun.
Yay.
Yes,
And we are so proud of you.
Yes. Not to mention being here is a good resume builder. So make sure you put it on there. Always
And
something.
don't be strangers, guys. You
Yeah.
are alumni. You can come back and say hi anytime you want. Visit any of the meetings.
Awesome.
They have so much time. No, thank you all so much. You're
Fair.
welcome to stick around, but you are also free to go, our panelists. We have just a few more things to cover in our official chapter meeting today. So let's maybe start there. So Asher, I think you're up to talk about the PTK scholarship.
Okay, so with the scholarship, it's not just one scholarship. It's the PTK portal, and you're going to take an eligibility quiz, and it's going to match you with whatever scholarships you're eligible for. And that is the go-to, I guess, deferral that Dr. Horn and Dr. Ross always say when it comes to these scholarships is do the eligibility quiz. It's going to tell you exactly what you're eligible for, what you can do. If you go to your connect.ptk.org, you'll see your options to look at other schools, but at the bottom of that, there's also the scholarship portal. Our spring deadline is May 16th, and that sounds like it's far away, but we were talking about this earlier. This semester is just blazing by. Do not let that get out from under you. There is a lot to do in this portal. One of the most important things that you need to pay attention to besides that deadline is your letters of recommendation. It is common to give your advisor, whoever you're asking, at minimum 2 weeks for a letter of recommendation. And we say it every time. You have letters of recommendations for different scholarships, letters of confirmation for certain scholarships, which just says, hey, you've been here. And that's for a lot of your PTK scholarships. It just says, yes, you're a member. UTK in particular needs a special letter of recommendation. Those are much easier to write if you get involved. So don't be shy, come to the meetings, interact, say hi. Even if you can only help out maybe 10, 15 minutes, just get your name out there so we know who you are. There's an activity section in there, speaking of that, in the actual scholarship application, and you can click off so many different things to include being a part of the induction ceremony, coming to these meetings, going to the regional conference, going to Catalyst, running for officer, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Any of the EDGE programs you do, I'm sure you can put in there. There's also a section for volunteerism, and that's going to include both statements on how it's impacted you, what caused you to want to volunteer, and then also a place for you to actually enter your volunteer hours. So I highly recommend looking at that. And like I said, stay on top of it. May 16 is going to be here before you know it. You need 2 weeks before that for your various letters of recommendation. On the note of scholarships, if you're ever in a bookstore or on Amazon, like, because who's not? The Big Book of Scholarships is a great place to go. It lists over 1,000 scholarships. I have one of these books, and it's disgusting the amount of scholarships that are out there for you would not even believe what. For example, if you are a ham radio operator and you have a ham radio license, there's like, I'm not even kidding, there's at least 7 scholarships for that, depending on what level you hold. And some of them are only $250. Some scholarships go all the way up to full rides, but I'll tell you, $200 here and $200 there can add up, especially when some college applications are $50 to $100 a piece. Those kind of things can come back and help you. So that's really all I've got for scholarships at this time.
Wonderful. Thank you, Asher. So Asher did mention the induction ceremony, and Selena, I have not forgotten your question. So Selena did ask, how can you get more involved in PTK? The induction ceremony is probably one of the simplest ways. Of course, you being here and being present at a chapter meeting, check on that one. So with the induction ceremony, it is because we're still active in the pandemic, we're going to continue with our virtual induction ceremony. And what that looks like is you will send in your content. I will take that content, work some low-key magic, and produce an induction video to be premiered on YouTube. So the premiere will happen on March 25. That's a Friday night at 7 p.m., which means that I need your materials by the end of day next Friday. So there's still some time yet. I recognize that blends into spring break, so maybe it gives you a little extra wiggle room to complete those things. But induction is an opportunity for us to celebrate you. If you've never been inducted before, regardless of when you've joined our chapter, we invite you to get involved, to participate. I have sent out emails about what kinds of materials I need. If you are a new member to be inducted, basically I need a brief video of you stating the pledge, which I included in the email, and I will send another one soon. And then as well as you lighting a candle. And then in addition to that, just an image of yourself. That's it. It's very simple. I need those two files, an image and a video. That is it. And then I'll work my magic, and then you can, sit down with your friends and family as they're available on that evening. Of course, the video will be able to be viewed beyond that actual premiere date so that you can share it and boast, I am a member of PTK, look at me, if you so wish. So the induction ceremony is one of the easier ways to get involved, but there are plenty, so do not fret if that's not something you're interested in. The next point that I want to talk about is Catalyst, ever so briefly. I tried really hard to produce so many members to come to Catalyst, but I'm sure that the cost was a big issue of it. Understandably, right? We're not rolling in riches over here. So even with we were offering a 50% discount. Even with that, it would still be about $600 to go, which is, again, a sizable amount. So we are very excited to still see our current president, Asher, off to Catalyst in Denver. And Asher, you'll have to come back and give us the full rundown of all the updates and the amazing things that happened. And we'll look forward to that.
I can't imagine that I will have anything at all to say about that.
No, not at all, ever.
Dr. Ross, are you still going to Catalyst?
I am not going to Catalyst. And I know this is news to you. I meant to text you earlier. I apologize. I have bowed out of Catalyst. I was anticipating bringing a group of students. And since that is no longer, it's just, it's a bit more feasible for me to not go. So I'm gonna count on you to hold our Pellissippi flag.
I will absolutely do that.
Yeah,
And
I
you
think
get to vote and everything.
Yeah, you are our chapter at Catalyst this year.
That's kind of terrifying and exciting all at the same time.
You'll be great. All right, I'm gonna toss it. Oh, that's a great question, Elise. I am so sorry that I didn't actually explain what Catalyst is. Here I am just gabbing about it. Catalyst is our annual conference for the PTK International. So all chapters from all over the world, because we are an international organization, they gather, and it's a 3 to 4 day conference. And typically it's in person every year. The last 2 years, it's been completely virtual because of the pandemic. But this year they are inviting people to gather in person again. So it's in Denver this year, April 7 through 9. There is still time if you would like to go. We can let me know and we can work that out. But yeah, that's essentially the brief on Catalyst. Asher went, was it last year? Yeah, you went last year. And just
Actually
raved.
what inspired me to run as president.
Right. So it's a great opportunity to network and, gain some leadership skills and all kinds of things. They host it every year. So if this year is not feasible, look for next year. Yeah. Thank you for asking. What is this thing you're talking about? All right. So I am going to toss it to Dr. Horn.
On the note of that, Dr. Ross, before we move on,
Yep.
Regional conference is this coming up on the 19th.
That's what Dr. Horn's going to
That's
talk
what
about.
I'm going to be talking about.
Oh, well, see, this is what happens when I don't have a bulleted list in front of me. I apologize.
okay.
Continue, Dr. Horn.
So the big thing to say is PTK always has 3 levels. There is the chapter level, which we're meeting at right now. There is the regional level. In our case, that's for the whole state of Tennessee. And then there's international level where they have 1 meeting, and that's Catalyst. Well, we meet twice a year as a region, and one of those is coming up this month. So this is Saturday the 19th. And because, again, we're still in the middle of all of this, it's going to be over Zoom. Normally it's a 2.5 day event, But what they've done is they have focused it down to the most important things. And so there are going to be 2 sessions. One is from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern time. And then the second one will start at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And what is going to happen that day? First of all, they're going to have a roll call and see who all is present from our chapter. So we will be able to, as many members as we have to give the number of members, of officers, and of advisors. So the more people we have, the better it is, and the more you'll find out about what happens on a regional level. So there will be a roll call, and then they will bring us up to date on what is happening in the Tennessee region, the other activities that are going on. After that, we have information about regional officers. So I'm sure you've all seen the email from me, and I am so excited to say we already have one person who has submitted a nomination. So I'm very excited about that. But if anyone else is interested in putting themselves forward as a nominee for regional office, that means representing our chapter and our members as a region and bringing information there and bringing information from the region back to us. And there are 3 officer positions that are available for us. There is president. Yes, we already have a nominee for president from our chapter. I'm very excited about that. We also have secretary. And then there's vice president, and the region has 3 vice presidents, one for the West Division, one for the Middle Division, and then one for where we are, East. And so we can submit as many names as we have people interested. It is a great chance to see what the rest of PTK is like, to get involved on a bigger level. And just going through this process can probably, hearing what our 3 former officers have to say, going through the process helps. So think about this as possibilities. If you have questions, I am happy to answer them. I have the forms that you have to sign, the honor policy, and then fill out the other form. And I'm going to be sending those in to our regional office, so they'll have all of that information to distribute that day. Then the people who are there and all of the members of our chapter who show up will get to vote on who our chapter votes for. During the break between the 2 times, people will vote, they will tabulate everything. And so one of the things we find out at that later time is who won the officer positions. It's also that second time is when we find out awards, and that is for everything with the region. We've submitted a number of things like the college project and honors in action project from last year. And so if you want to, again, find out more about what's going on, those awards can be a really interesting way of doing that. So if you have questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. Now, since I'm not seeing questions on that, I do have a video from our Honors in Action Vice President, who is not here today. So let me share his video with you.
Dr. Horn,
Yes.
quick question. Anybody who wants to run for that, do they need to be enrolled at Pellissippi for the entire next year, or just a semester, or how does that work?
I can find out about that. I know that it's signing up for 1-year status as officer. So I will, it would be a 1-year commitment, but whether or not you would have to be enrolled, I don't know, and I will find out.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Okay. So here is our video.
Hey guys, I'm Ed, the current Honors in Action Vice President. The Honors in Action project is a project that allows students to gain real-life experiences with leadership skills, doing research, while also allowing them to contribute to their community. So the Honors in Action project is split into two parts, the research part and the action part. For the research part, we start by selecting one of the themes provided to us by Phi Theta Kappa. Then we dig deeper into the subject, and we try to identify the problems in our own community. Then we try to figure out how to combine these two, and that will help us be more specific with our research. It'll help us figure out what problems we have to look into deeper. And by doing this, it will also make the action portion clearer to us. It'll provide us with an answer and a path that we need to take to help our community. I personally think that this is very rewarding because the project allowed me to actually give back to the people around me, and I think that's just amazing. So if you guys are interested, don't hesitate to let us know, and come and join us in the Honors and Action Committee. Thank you, guys.
And we actually have a brand new, I just saw the question. I don't yet have a link to the Zoom for the regional meeting. As soon as I do, I will be sending that out. And it may be the day before or the day of, just from past history. Apologies for that, but as soon as I have it, I'll send it out. So for Honors in Action, we just got brand new topics. So here is a link in the chat to those new topics if you're interested in taking a look. And if you want to get more involved, you can let us know and we can connect you with Ed. I think that he's going to start having regular meetings for this now that we have that booklet. But I will throw it over to Serafina to talk about what's going on with College Project.
Yes, so for those who don't know, I am Serafina, and I'm the vice president of our College Project. And the purpose of the College Project is to strengthen the relationship between our chapter as well as Pellissippi's administration, whether it be staff or students even. And last semester, I hosted a financial literacy panel, and it really just discussed different aspects of money, whether they be physical or psychological, just as a way to connect everyone. This semester, we don't have a project set up yet, but I am kind of brainstorming, and I would love to hear what you guys have to say, what your thoughts would be, because obviously I want to strengthen the relationship between our chapter. Another thing I kind of want to mention is the spring fling that we have coming up. With the spring fling, the donations that we will be receiving will be used to go to one of our past college projects, which was money for a food pantry, money for, it would be donations for like school supplies and such to be distributed. And a way we'll do that, obviously, is just with fun games, fun activities, but in a way you'll be supporting a cause as well. I will be at the Hardin Valley Spring Fling on April 26th. Hopefully I'll have Ed join me, just like he did last semester. But there are also other dates and other times at different campuses for these spring flings. So if anyone wants to also join those or participate in those, that'd be awesome. I can send those dates. But if you guys are interested in any way about brainstorming about the spring fling or even joining, becoming involved with this college project, I would love for y'all to reach out. So I'll just comment real quick those other dates of the spring fling as well as my email if anyone wants to reach out.
Wonderful. Thank you, Serafina. So if you didn't catch that, there are lots of opportunities to get involved with our chapter. So you can join Ed in working on our Honors in Action. You can join Serafina in working on our college project. You can table at any of our campuses for Spring Fling, which are the dates are now in the chat box. So if you're available for any of those days, you feel free to step up and say, yeah, I'll table. And our officers are more than happy to help guide you on kind of how that happens. What do you say? What are the different ways that you can help try to recruit and spread awareness of our chapter. So lots of options. Maybe you're taking a list. All right, so just a couple more things. I know we're coming up to our 5:30 time. I think Asher, you want to talk about the NSO and College Success Video Project as yet another way people can get involved.
Yeah, we are working on trying to come up with a video for new student orientation, essentially, to explain to students who we are and what we do, to try to give them a lot of the information that you guys have been asking in the first couple of meetings. You know, how do you get involved? You know, what do you do? How does this benefit me? Because we feel like that information is not getting out to you guys, I guess, in a timely manner. So we're looking for anybody who might have ideas for the content, how to do it. We're also looking for anybody who is in maybe graphic design or media editing or communications, where this can be one of those things that our former officers talked about, getting you some experience to help you in your further career. It can also be contributed towards those so needed volunteer hours, especially if you are a, was it the Promise Scholarship, I believe? Or if you're trying to get your service hours medallion. So really, there's a lot of opportunities for that kind of stuff in PTK too, not just with the NSO video, but you know, we work with the what do you call it? The bulletin board. And we are always looking for, you know, photographers, editors, graphic designers, anything like that. Just reach out to us. We probably have something you can help us with that will help also further what you're doing. So that's kind of where we're at with that.
Excellent. And then do you also want to, we've already talked a bit about officer elections, but do you want to plug that once more?
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, we have no, not all at this point, but a lot of our main officers are graduating this semester. I'm one of the ones that's not, so don't feel bad if you don't have leadership experience. I promise you, we all got together, except Ed. Ed came from the semester before us. All the rest of us came together with absolutely no idea what we were doing. And we were all real shaky with each other at first, and it just grew into a big family real quick. I always said that I thought I would be a good leader. I just needed somebody to take a chance on me. It doesn't work that way in the workforce. You have to prove you have leadership. This is a great way to get started. We take a quote unquote chance without the threat of anything here. It's a very low stress, I don't want to say low expectation, but like, it's not like you're going to lose your job if you're bad at something. Like, Dr. Horn and Dr. Ross want to help you succeed. We all want to help you succeed. And it's been a great experience for me. And it's, you know, like the former officer said today, it's a good thing to put on your resume or your college applications and scholarship applications as well. It's not that big of a time commitment. I promise you, I drive a semi truck over the road. I literally just came off of a 70-hour week in 6.5 days. And I still do this along with school. So don't feel like you're going to get roped into something you can't handle. And if you ever do feel overwhelmed, all you got to do is reach out and say something. And we step up, we help each other out. Dr. Ross and Dr. Horn help us out. It's a great experience. It's been really enriching for me. It's helped me in a lot of ways. It's actually really helped me with my public speaking class, which I'm finally taking. It's one of the last classes I need. And it's helped me a lot in that class too. So it doesn't just stop at school. It helps you with work. It helps you with everything. So I highly, highly recommend it. I'll be here to help anybody. I believe Travis and is it Sophia who's coming back next semester as well? Or is Travis graduating?
Asher, I think you're the only one coming back.
Am I really the only one coming back? Okay. Well, hi everybody. Come join me and my talkative self, and we'll all have fun together and we can grow and it'll be great. I'll also see anybody who wants to come to the regional meeting. I'll be there. So my inbox is always open. Feel free. If you don't want to become an officer, we also have those committees like we were saying just a few minutes ago. You can help with any project without being an officer. Don't think you have to be an officer to do that. But if you want to be an officer, we're here for you.
Serafina?
And just to kind of piggyback off of what Asher was saying, during this time where we are virtual and you are still attending classes through a computer, this is a really nice way to just connect with people, whether it be staff or even other students. I can now confidently say that I have a very good group of friends that I developed through PTK, and it means a lot. It really does add on to your college experience.
Excellent. All right. For the sake of time, if you do have questions, I think by now you all know how to reach us. I will be sending an email out very soon, probably in the morning, I'd say, with notes from today. So if you didn't take notes, I have them for you, as well as our email addresses. So if you have questions or whatever the case might be, you can contact either myself or Dr. Horn as your advisors, or any of your current officers. And I know that each of them would be happy to help answer questions and so forth. But at this time, I think I'm going to toss it to Sophia Strobel to wrap up, and we'll get you going for the evening.
All right, thank you, Dr. Ross. So thank you all for tuning in today. We hope you all learned some valuable tips and information in regards to scholarships in the transfer process. Our next chapter meeting will be held on April 12th at the same time, 4 p.m. We'll end our recording here, and this concludes our March chapter meeting.